I'm host Eric, host of Talking Trans People. I have been the last day or two reading out loud, and first I decided to just sort of summarize like cliff notes of a novel I wrote about 10 years ago, and it's called Gospel of the Pantheon. And then last night I read some chapters of it out loud. I had read some chapters of it out loud before, but I continued. I got some more chapters done last night. So the point of my mentioning this is, at the moment, is I'm struck by how the characters in my book are so revelatory of my cognitive function biases, and how clearly they represent those things to me now that I know about this stuff, which I didn't know about at all when I wrote the book. So, for example, there's this character called Duke Grondovich, and Duke Grondovich is basically just straight any, barely restrained at all by T.I. or anything else. He's just playing constantly, and he, like, you know, in the Super Soldier chapter, he has a cool idea that he wants to try, which is he wants to breed super soldiers. And so he goes into the town and he's like, okay, everybody, gather around, peasants, gather around. Look, I've been watching you guys for a while now. I've been watching for like 15 minutes or whatever. It's like, I've determined which ones of you should be breeding with which other ones, because I'm going to be breeding super soldiers. And I've decided it's going to take 10 years. I think that's enough time for you guys to turn into super soldiers. So, you're going to breed with you, and you breed with you, and you breed with you, and you breed with you. And he gives them all these assignments, right? And then he puts a list up on the wall there. But like almost nobody in his kingdom can read. He doesn't think about that. And they don't even know what he's talking about. And so they just go back to their regular life. And then, like, the next day, he comes back and he's like, well, I've thought some more about it. I've decided to change the breeding pairs. He changes them. He puts them up on the wall. And then he proceeds to do that for like, you know, every few weeks. And then occasionally he'll forget about it for a few months, then he'll go back and he'll change them again. And he does this over the course of 10 years. Like, and then he never checks on the progress of any of his super soldiers. But he has his assistant knows he's got this plan going on. And he's like, well, you know, now he shows up at the 10-year mark and he's like, okay, y'allers, show me my super soldiers. And y'allers like, you know, I told you, I said, I think I'm not sure 10 years is going to be enough. I don't know why they grow faster. And you know, Duke Grondovich is like, there is no doubt that I've been extremely patient with this. I have made it very clear what I expected, and I gave 10 years. It's a whole decade for these people to get their shit together. And they're always like, okay, well, here they are. And show them the super soldiers, and it's just, he doesn't even have anything to show them except he just gathers together some 10-year-old kids. He finds some peasant kids, and he's like, here they are. And he's disappointed, needless to say. He's disappointed. So then he's like, but he gets over it really fast. He's like, well, whatever. I guess I just needed to pay more attention or something. And he's like, I know. I want to build a fort. And he decides he's going to design his own summer palace. So he gets out a piece of paper and he just starts drawing little squares and circles and squiggly lines and stuff and says, y'allers, I want to build a fortress. It's going to look like this. It's going to have waterfalls in it. It's going to be like, it's going to have, and, you know, he does that shit. And then y'allers is like, well, I guess we could try to build it over there. And the Duke's like, oh, let's go look at it. So that chapter, which I just described, is really the only, I think there's like 2 chapters with Grondovich and y'allers in it, but he's representative of just straight any, removed from anything else, just playtime nonsense guy. And that is that was kind of cool to note as I was reading it. And what I note as I read it is the book is full of extroverted intuition. I have one character who's an introverted intuitor, and he's the character I understand least in my head, which is funny. He's Brigadier Relegati, who ultimately turns out to be one of the main characters that comes into the story fairly late. Or, yeah, well, not late, but anyway, Interruptively is one of the main characters, is ENTP Incarnate. Elias Cork is ENTP, probably maybe INTP. The Duchess, I would say, is another introverted intuitor, actually, and she's probably INTJ. But it's hard to say for sure. Maybe she's ENTJ. That's what I think I concluded, she's ENTJ. And then you have like this, as far as the other gods go, Curtis is INTP, and Baby Lady Bay is some sort of F. She's the F. She's the FE in the book. And that's it. Yeah, and she's a goddess who's basically in charge of FE, and she appears very little in the book. She's not very important. She doesn't have a lot to do, you know. So, additionally, there's a character, Corporal Wisdom, who's like SE, you know, and who gets treated rather shabbily throughout the book. And then there's who else? Well, anyway, it was interesting, very interesting to read. I really enjoyed reading it and thinking about it in those terms. And it's cool to be able to look at an example of myself that didn't know about this stuff. Thanks for watching. Fantasy People. I'm not on time, but sort of almost close.